Okay, I figured I would just make a video as it is quicker and show you everything. So here we have the X-axis motor, as you can see. Here's the pulley. And again, I checked everything on these troubleshooting threads. So the pulley is fast, the belt is tensioned correctly, and I made sure that there are no obstructions on the axis. So this does move freely from side to side, as you can see. And if you want to watch the pulley, here it is. I'm going to move the x-axis from end to end again. And also, as you can see, there's no slipping whatsoever. It's just movement, just correct movement. Same on the y-axis. So let's just go over this quickly. So here's the motor. Oh, let me get a better view of this. But same thing here. I made sure to check whether this can move from end to end, and it can. I know it's hard to see, but I also double checked the pulley here, and the pulley here is also fast and oriented correctly, and it is also installed correctly. I also double checked that, and so here it is. The bed can also move from end to end, so it's also not obstructed. So to be clear about this, let me just walk you through what I meant. Give me a second. Okay, so currently this is set to Mark 3.9 down here, if you can see. I hope you can see. It's set to Mark 3.9. So if I orient the axes now, if I manually home, so to speak, the X and Y axes, with this setting set to Mark 3.9, then I can manually move the axis just fine. So here you can see the axis is at the parking coordinates. If I move this now, you can see it moves correctly. So this is on end, and it moves to the end smoothly and also back. No issue whatsoever. And same for the y-axis. So this is all the way back. It's set to -4, and now I put it to max, and it moves just fine. And also back. So it should be behaving correctly. Now if I ask it to auto home, it will also do that, and correctly as far as I can tell. So it homed just fine. So everything should be fine. Now, if we try to do the, as you can see here, all tests are fine except for the y-axis test and the z-axis test. The z-axis test for some reason just it just aborts. It doesn't fail, it doesn't succeed, it just doesn't do anything. I assume it's because it thinks that the XY axes are obstructed, and so maybe it needs to move them or not. I don't know. However, if we now try to start the XY axis test, let's see. So So Z-axis is usually fine. It hasn't failed since, I think. I don't know. It's not quite as extreme as in the other video that I showed you, but it feels. I could feel this these impacts on the table, and I mean a few of these would be fine, I guess, but this is just excessive in my opinion. However, this will now go on for. I mean, the x-axis will sort of succeed. It doesn't throw an error usually, but it will mark it as failed. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. There you go. That was way too far. Now this is a little more like it. It's a lot lighter, this tapping. It seems a lot more reasonable. So I think it should be just about yeah, see? So it now marks the x-axis as failed, but doesn't stop the test. Okay. The same thing on the y-axis, it just keeps banging its head, so to speak, on the frame, and also with excessive force. Pretty excessive, if you ask me. And it won't take long. And there it is. I don't know if that is a crash or not, but it certainly gives an error to this one, to be exact. So if I acknowledge that, it will just reboot. And now, once the reboot is finished, of course, no, the calibration failed. So if we now look at this hardware setting again, it is again set to MK4, which makes sense because that is why the test failed. Because if we now, if I now manually rehome X and Y, so these are all on the end. If I manually home that and now manually move these axes, you can see that the x-axis will not, I will have to move this carefully so it doesn't destroy itself. If I put this to, as you can see, I'm gonna try and hit the end as light as I can. Okay, so as you can clearly see, the head is at the end, but the x-coordinate actually is 125, so exactly half of what it should be. It does return just fine, but it would bang against the frame if I told it to. And the same thing for the heat bed. If I put this to 100 and... oh, sorry, yes. As you just saw, it would destroy itself if I told it to go any further, and this is also at half of what the y-axis should be capable of. Now, for the final part, I am going to reset this hardware setting back to 3.9. Right, it's set to 3.9 right now. Then reboot the printer. Just wait like 30 seconds. Or like, I think about that should be enough. All right, there we are. Just double checking. This is still set to 3.9. There we go. It's still on 3.9 after the reboot. Now if we auto home again, auto home again. As you can maybe hear, the tapping is a lot lighter than in the test. So that seems fine. Of course, it doesn't test the axis length in this one, but it seems to be working all right. Yeah, so that was successful. If we now look at the axis, all of this is correct and correctly working. So the issue is, as far as I can tell, is that the beginning of the XY test at least, is forcing this setting from 3.9 to Mark 4 again, which causes the test to fail, of course. And let me show you, if I try the Z-axis test, you've clearly seen that the Z-axis is working correctly. So this test's just marked as neutral, not done. If I try to do it, it appears to be working. It's just fine, and now it just stops and nothing's happening. So this is the issue, and it just, yeah, it's just weird, and I'm not sure if I can use this printer in this condition, because I am not sure what the XY test would actually do. Yeah, so I'm hoping that you can help me. I would also be willing to flash an older firmware if that problem doesn't persist over there. And yeah, I would be very happy to use my newly printed. It looks amazing, but I'm not sure if I can use it.